What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 9-game slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday on our live stream, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for the slate. If you guys stay to the very end of this video, I'll be giving you some of my favorite SuperDraft plays. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. And now let's finally go ahead and dive right into this NBA 9-game slate, guys. Cannot wait to break it down. I want to show you guys some prize pick success from last night. If you guys sign up for Patreon. If you guys haven't signed up for Patreon, if you don't know this, we actually provide prize picks projections on there where we show the percentage chance of whether the guy should hit the over or under based on our DraftKings and FanDuel projections. We also show our projections on SuperDraft. If you guys don't know that already, we provide SuperDraft projections, which I will show you guys at the very end of this video. As of right now, just wanted to show you guys, we had the over on Ayton of 30. Very bullish on him. He scored 42.3, which is actually over our projection. Seti Osman, we actually had him projected around 27 points, so hit the over there. With Brunson, we had him around 20 points. 22.2 is what he finished with. With Dort, we had the under. We were not bullish on him. We were very bearish. 19.8 is what he scored. And then also Maladin, the under on 23. He was only projected about 20 to 25 minutes, and I thought that was a little crazy. Ended with 12.7. So nonetheless, turned $20 into $200 here with a 5-pick flex. Would have won more if you turned that into a power play, but nonetheless, a lot of success over there on prize picks. Guys, let's now focus on the slate. There are 3 games that really stand out to me in terms of the over-under. Those 3 games being Milwaukee, Washington. We have Minnesota and Memphis, and then we also have Indiana. If I can find the game, there's a lot of games to go through. Indiana and Sacramento. This game is a 239 over-under. The one thing I want to note about the slate in general that's going to change the landscape of it is going to be the Sacramento-Indiana game that has so many pending injury news right now. Harrison Barnes, Metu are now questionable. Same thing with Goga, Brogdon, Lamb, and Sumner. If those guys are ruled out, it's going to completely change this slate as a whole. So, questionable injury news in that game. Other than that, we're focusing on these three games with value and some of these pay-up options. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And we also have some solidified news that kind of changes the entire slate as a whole as of right now. With Orlando, we have Michael Carter-Williams, Ennis, Akiki, Porter, and Ross officially out. So a lot of value plays there in Orlando. And then on the very last game, or close to the last game here with Denver, we have Barton, Dozier, and Morris officially out. A lot of value plays, a lot of minutes to go around there with the guard and small forward play. So definitely want to hone in on Denver. So right now, it's going to be attacking these high over-unders and also grabbing some value, assuming that the slate stays the exact same value plays here from Orlando and Denver. Starting out with Denver, let's take a look at the usage rates there. Right now, we have Barton, Dozier, and Morris out, and then also Jokic is technically questionable. He is more on the probable side. If you guys take a look back here on the injury report, he is showing probable. So we're going to assume he plays. When we take a look at the usage board here, Jokic has the highest usage rate on the court with these guys off the court, 32.3%. Usage rate with a 1.46 fantasy point per minute output. Michael Porter Jr. second in line here, carrying a 30.8% usage rate and averaging 1.19 fantasy points per minute. When you compare that to their salaries and how high priced they are, it doesn't really intrigue me too much. Michael Porter Jr. has a very aggressive price tag here at an $8,400 price tag, 37 projected minutes. We have him at a 5.2 point per dollar value. Taking the same kind of look here at Jokic, 10.7K. Again, it's Jokic. He's in the running for MVP. I know he has a ton of upside in general, but in terms of the pace of the matchup here, we know the Knicks are actually a good defensive team. They're only projected to score 109 points. Right now, I have Jokic at a 4.9 point per dollar value, so I'm not that bullish on the superstars and the pay-up options from this Denver team. However, I'm very bullish on the paid down options, rather, the value plays here from this team. Right now, we have Campazzo projected at 35 minutes at a 4.6K price tag and a 6.7 point per dollar value. When you take all these guys off the court, Campazzo is actually averaging 0.88 fantasy points per minute, which I know isn't the worst, but it also isn't the best. But for a 4.6K price tag, he really only has to get to that 20 to 25 point range for fantasy points, and we have him projected at 30.8, and that's averaging 0.88 fantasy points per minute. I expect a lot more usage to go to him, especially if he's in the starting lineup, and I really like that price tag with the minute upside. 35 minutes for a $4,600 price tag is very, very intriguing. Next on the list is Shaq Harrison. Shaq Harrison only projected 24 minutes, but when we take a look at the fantasy points per minute here, he's averaging 0.79 fantasy points per minute at a bottom of the barrel price tag. He really only has to get to 15 fantasy points, and we have him projected at 18.96 points, which comes out to a 6.3 point per dollar value. Aaron Gordon also in the mix here, a 4.9K price tag. We have him projected at 28 minutes, and since he's been over here in Denver, he's averaging, if I can find his name, 1.02 fantasy points per minute, which is about the same kind of fantasy output there in Orlando when he played. So I have him at a 5.8 point per dollar value. Campazzo, Harrison, and Aaron Gordon are my favorite value plays here from Denver, and really my favorite plays in general here on the slate in terms of value. Another team I want to target here in terms of value is going to be Orlando. Orlando is without, if I want to go back to the injury report here, Michael Carter-Williams, Enes Akiki, Porter, and Terrence Ross. When you take those guys off the court, a lot changes in terms of the landscape here for this team. Cole Anthony averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute, almost a 30% usage. Dwayne Bacon next in the line here, 24.3% usage, 0.91 fantasy points per minute. And then there's a stud here, Mo Bamba, averaging 1.31 fantasy points per minute, and also RJ Hampton, 0.95 fantasy points per minute. So in terms of value, I actually do like RJ Hampton. 4.5K price tag and 30 minutes comes out to a 6.3 point per dollar value. Same thing with Mo Bamba. Even though he's not really playing that many minutes, he's still averaging 1.31 fantasy points per minute. If you guys look to see what he's been doing with these limited minutes, 24, 23, 21, and 29, he's hit value in this past 3 out of the 4 times in this past 4 contests. So I really like Mo Bamba, especially given the matchup against Boston. Next on the list is going to be Dwayne Bacon. Just talked about his 0.95 fantasy points per minute. 4.9K price tag isn't that intriguing, and his minute production did decrease in the past contest. Only played 23 minutes. We've seen upward of 37 to 36 minutes, so it really depends on how many minutes he's projected here closer to lock, but I don't mind him for a GPP option. Other than that, the rest of this roster is going to be GPP options. For me, it's just going to be RJ Hampton and also Mo Bamba. Last but not least, I want to talk about the pay-up options on this slate. Again, pending the Indiana injury news. If anybody else is ruled out from that Indiana game, we have to look back at that contest. It's a high over-under, and there's going to be a ton of value to attack in that game. But talking about this Milwaukee-Washington game, this is still going to be a safe bet for pay-up options and really value plays in general. Right now, we have Bertans projected at 26 minutes, 3.6K. We love taking shooters and pace-up spots. Yes, that last game was a little bit of an outlier, 154 to 141, but he easily paid off his price tag in 27 minutes. Again, going to be more of a GPP option just because he's a shooter, doesn't carry that high of a usage rate, and they're projected 118 points. But other options I do love. Russell Westbrook had a career historic game in his last contest and didn't get a price increase. I don't get it. You're just going to plug and play Russell Westbrook at this point in the season. 118 points against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is expected to be a closer matchup. Milwaukee's coming off a back-to-back. We know that Milwaukee's a better team, but again, tired legs there in Milwaukee, so it's only a 6-point spread at home, so I do expect it to be relatively close. Russell Westbrook is going to be the main option. He's going to be very chalky. Bradley Beal is going to be a pivot option, 9.5K. We know he's more of a shooter, so I do prefer Russell Westbrook here as a pay-up option. And then if you're playing Russell Westbrook, you might as well pair it with Giannis here on the flip side, 10.9K. Only $100 cheaper. I expect the builds to be value plays and also the 2 pay up options here, almost exactly as we saw last night with Kevin Durant and Giannis as the game stack there. So I expect Giannis to play about 35 to 37 minutes if this does stay competitive, and we know what he does whenever the game does stay competitive. Also paid off his price tag last night with 60 points, not too bad, and then 75 points before that. 124 points they're projected to score the most on the slate in general from Milwaukee. And then if you want to talk about some of these other pay down options like DiVincenzo, one of my favorite GBP plays last night, easily paid off his price tag. I like him as well against the Washington Wizards and this matchup. Then same thing with Brook Lopez, is always undervalued at that 4.8K price tag. But that's it for the DraftKings slate, guys. I'm going to switch over to SuperDraft. If you guys haven't signed up for SuperDraft, what are you doing? Hit that link below in the description. It's a 50% match up to $500. I will leave the link in our comment section as well if you guys want to use that promo just for watching this video. My favorite plays on SuperDraft are going to be Giannis for reasons I just talked about. Doesn't have a multiplier, but he's the best player on the slate. Karl Anthony Towns has a 1.1 times multiplier. We have him penned here for 58.99 points. Bradley Beal has a multiplier of 1.15 times, so I love that projection as well. Michael Porter Jr. going to be playing upward of 37 minutes. I have him at a 1.3 times multiplier and a 57.24 point output. Love him as well. And then my last play on the slate is going to be Joel Embiid in a fantastic matchup versus Houston. There's definitely a mismatch down low there, and he's also power forward eligible, which is just a cheat code. So I love Joel Embiid there as well. And that will wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this content. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.